Are we okay?
Okay, we are live.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Now that I know we're streaming, and this is the Baltimore County delegation, and it's wonderful to be here in this snow-covered Baltimore County. I am the chair, Senator Kathy Klossmeyer, and I'm going to I'm going to start the meeting. And I'm going to have the first bill, and it is Senate Bill 432. And Senate Bill 432 would require that Baltimore County enable orphans court judges and their surviving spouses to receive a pension after completing 2 terms in office. And with that, that is the header of this. And I am going to let Judge Fisher explain the whole bill.
Good morning, Senator Klossmeyer, other senators. I really appreciate your taking the time to be here. I'm Juliette Fisher. As most of you know, I am an orphans court judge in Baltimore County, have been since 2014 at this point. When we were going through some of the legislative bills that were going on and looking through the pensions that were available throughout the state, we noticed that Estates and Trusts 2108, which with respect to judicial compensation for orphans court judges, provides for a pension for almost every jurisdiction. Baltimore County is specifically excluded, as are a couple other jurisdictions. Most of those other jurisdictions have pensions that are spelled out in different subsections of the bill itself. So in an effort to create a little more uniformity, we requested that Baltimore County orphans court judges receive a pension similar to that of Baltimore City and PG County, which are the 2 most comparable jurisdictions to us. We actually, when I was pulling it back up and looking at the statistics, which are kind of skewed because it's from 2020 to 2021, although we were open almost the whole time and actually did double dockets for several months to catch ourselves up. We actually in Baltimore County have about 1/6 of the total estates of the entire state of Maryland. So we are probably the busiest orphans court in the entire state. Obviously, my esteemed colleagues, Judge Evans and Judge Frank, who send their best and aren't here today, and myself would always like to make sure that Baltimore County retains and seeks orphans court judges of the highest caliber in order to best represent Baltimore County. So this bill is really an effort to create some uniformity in a statute that doesn't really have any. And so we requested a bill be drafted that would provide a similar pension. We're also the only elected officials in Baltimore County who don't have a pension. So this is really something that I think is probably due and would be a fair bill to create uniformity for the orphans court judges. Every other judge in the state district circuit appellate has pensions available to them, and we are one of the only ones who don't. So that's how we got to this point. I'm happy to entertain any specific questions.
Is anyone have questions? Oh, Senator Kelly?
Do all of the other orphans courts that have pensions start after only 2 terms?
They mostly all start after 2 terms. We kind of compiled a little bit of different jurisdictions because there isn't any. We basically based this on Baltimore City and PG County. The general provision, which is the one that specifically excludes us, provides in general that orphans court judges shall get a pension if they've terminated active service, have reached 60 years old, and have completed at least 2 terms of office. So we thought that was a fair requirement.
Which counties that require more time?
There aren't any that require more time.
I see. Okay.
Any other questions?
Could I move we vote favorably on this?
Well, we weren't going to vote today. We're
Oh,
going
we're not going to vote today. Okay. All right.
Yeah, only because I didn't think Senator Kelly was going to be here and Senator Liam. And so because this is in the morning and it just isn't quite the perfect time yet, we're going to try for next Monday afternoon.
Is that going to be an issue with me testifying tomorrow on behalf of the bill before JPR?
No.
This has no bearing.
Okay.
No bearing. And as soon as I'm 95%, 99% sure it's going to pass, but then we'll just get a letter. We'll have the letter already for when they vote. Okay.
Let me ask one other question. For people who have already retired from the orphans court, what happens?
We put it in as active service as of January 1st of this year, so that we won't be going back in time to address people who've already previously served. So it would impact those of us serving currently and then moving forward.
How many roughly do you know of that are still alive and would be in the other category, that they did the 2 terms and there's, because that's probably what we're going to.
Well, Judge Colleen Kavanaugh, who became a circuit court judge, so I think she'd be precluded anyway because she's getting a circuit court judge pension at this point. Judge Terry Lawler in our jurisdiction did serve over 2 terms. I think we were just thinking that it was simpler to just move forward with things as they were currently.
Well, what seems simple and what people might think of as unfair, if we only got.
I think it's only one person.
That are still alive, it might make sense to amend the bill to go ahead and include them. If you got a whole ton of people, then I think we need to look at that.
I think it's one person that I'm aware of.
Okay. Well, Madam Chair, I would just suggest that the delegation, before we vote, might want to consider if there's only one and she did her 2 terms, including her.
Yes. So, well, I'll look into it this week and figure out what, like I said, we're not going to vote until next week. So.
Okay. I'm just.
Right. But I appreciate that. You're right. And it was only her. So.
Yeah. And honestly, Senator, we were really just thinking like, we wanted to make sure with fiscal impacts and things for Baltimore County that it would be something that they were aware of. So I obviously don't have any objection to her receiving a pension if that's how you all feel it's best moving forward.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Oh, Senator Hedelman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just had a question whether this bill had ever been introduced before.
Not that I'm aware of. It was kind of when we were looking through some other uniformity things. I'm the legislative chair for the state. And so when we've been looking at other bills, I was like, oh, this is kind of strange that we're specifically excluded and most of the other excluded jurisdictions have something else in place.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Let's move on to now. Let me just ask Senator Hedelman, did you have to leave early?
I'm okay. I have a little bit of time.
Okay. Senator West, are you quick?
I'm fine. Yeah. You want me to go forward?
Yeah, if you can be quick.
I'm going to leave you all. I appreciate your
yes,
time and
yeah.
thank you for all your hard work. Happy Valentine's Day. I'll see some of you tomorrow. Take care.
Okay.
I think mine are very simple and hopefully uncontroversial. Senate Bill 584 sets up a task force staffed by the State Highway Administration to conduct a study of York Road, the York Road corridor through central Towson. I think it's unique to my legislative district, and Kathy Forbes, Delegate Forbes, is the cross-file sponsor in the House. Can't imagine that's controversial. Does anybody have questions about that?
Why do you need a bill for this?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the State Highway Administration tends to be rather lethargic and busy doing other things. And so in order to get them to staff the bill and to work hard on it, my feeling was that we need, the Towson Chamber has asked for this in the past, hasn't gotten it. So if we get this bill through, they'll get it.
But my question is, what do you need on York Road? What do you want to find out?
Well, it's very congested. Central Towson is like a pinch point, and they've just opened the Whole Foods right there, which is generating and going to generate, as the spring and summer go on, a lot of extra traffic. There's parking all along Central York Road and Central Towson, and it's just very congested, and it's only going to get worse. So the idea is let's do a study to try to figure out, for example, maybe signage, which would detour cars around the Towson bypass. More cars that way, rather than having to go through the middle of Towson, might be helpful.
Okay. All right, I got it. Okay.
So that's bill number one.
And we did have a witness, not to interrupt, Senator. We did have a witness for this bill.
Fine. Who's that?
Well, before you call the witness, let me just ask, Liberty Road, Reisterstown Road, Frederick Road, we got the same situation. And so I'm not sure it might be better if you were to get it done, doing it informally with the State Highway Commission or with this delegation, just sending them a letter asking if they would do it. Saying we vote that they study this, rather than to set up, because we could have them all busy, because everybody's gonna want to study. I mean, everybody's got some corridors like that.
I get what Senator West is saying, because I won't drive over Towson and I won't go around that circle. It's a quagmire over there.
I'm not saying it isn't, but where all of us live, there are corridors like that in Baltimore County. And I'm just saying,
I get it. I get it.
Bill have a fiscal, no, you might get a lot of people coming out to testify against it. If you could do it more informally, you could probably have the study done and know what you need to find out if this delegation just sent a letter. This is just a suggestion.
Okay.
Well, let me go in the next week, between now and when we vote, let me get back to the State Highway Administration and see whether they're amenable to doing studies of the Liberty Road corridor, the Reisterstown Road corridor, I guess the Frederick Road corridor, as well as the York Road corridor, and see what the reaction is. I'll bring that information back next Friday.
Okay. No, not on Friday.
Well,
it's Monday afternoon.
Monday, sorry.
Okay.
Next time we meet.
All right. Okay.
Second, there is an old-fashioned farm restaurant way north in my county, in my district, out of the middle of nowhere. There's no commercial establishment within miles. It's called Friendly Farms Restaurant. When you go there, it's basically communal dining. Mostly they serve fried chicken. They would like to have a liquor license. So the second bill would enable Friendly Farms to get a liquor license. The lobbyists have worked it out with the Beverage Association and the county. I don't believe there's any opposition to it. And there are no neighbors to complain because it's in the middle of nowhere.
And it's good food.
And it's good food. Yeah, it's been going on for, Shelley, look, she's nodding her head. She's been there. It's been going on forever. People sit in the car and they have a glass of wine or a beer or something, and then they have to walk into the restaurant. This would actually, I see Marta Harding's here, so Marta can tell more about the bill. I don't believe there's any opposition to it.
Good morning.
No neighbors to complain.
Good morning.
Well, it sounds like that's an easy one. If there's nobody complaining and it doesn't hurt anybody.
Marta, what do you have to say?
Senator West described the bill really well. This is basically a much narrower version of what you passed in 2012. 2012 bill said you could move 25 licenses out of District 15 over 5 years. As introduced, the bill says 5 licenses, basically the 5 that didn't transfer the first time around, over the course of 3 years. Now, the county executive, and we did work with the Licensed Beverage Association on the bill as introduced and continue to work with them. I'll just add that, and I have Chris Wilhelm here from Friendly Farm, who I think could speak briefly about it, but with the amendments that we worked on with the county executive's office, the bill is no longer limited to just District 15 as being the eligible transferor district. It allows any district that is oversaturated as defined by a 15% or more overage over what the population base would allow you. And we also built in at the county executive's request some guardrails around what the applicant has to show when they come in to ask for the transfer, including some information about how the property is going to be used going forward, so that the county can have some comfort that it's not going to turn into a blight situation. So we appreciated, we work with the county executive. I think they're comfortable with the bill with those amendments, as are we. Let me let Chris just weigh in briefly, if that's okay.
Those amendments sound good. I don't think we need to, then I can't see anything negative.
Well,
the rest of us.
Can we hear just Chris Wilhelm just for a few minutes?
Yeah, sure. Hi, all. My name's Chris Wilhelm. I'm part of the third generation at Friendly Farms. My family and I have been in the business since 1959. And as my sister and I look forward to the future, we see the opportunity to grow. And we've received many inquiries in past years about, do we serve alcohol? Can we bring it? And, we just feel that we've been disappointing customers, and that we want to be able to satisfy, what they would like to have. We currently don't have one, and up to this point, we haven't been able to get one. As Baltimore County tries to build their tourism industry, we feel that we're in line with this, and that we're destination restaurants. People come from all over the surrounding states to come and enjoy a meal, in a country environment. We're ready to build on this experience and give customers more options. I truly believe a liquor license will open the door to new customers, to local and non-local residents. We expect it to significantly boost our restaurant operations and our on-site accessory activities. I hope you all.
Okay. All right. Hey, very good. Thank you, Chris. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Move on to my last bill.
Okay, one more.
One more. The last one is Senate Bill 427. It would authorize farmers in Baltimore County to hunt groundhogs without first obtaining a license. Groundhogs, they sound cute, but they're really a pest. They dig holes, and cows and horses break their legs by stepping in the holes. They eat crops. They undermine foundations. They damage farm equipment. If a tractor is going along with something extended from it and it hits one of their piles of dirt, it can damage the farm equipment. So farmers in all the other counties in the state have the right to hunt groundhogs without getting a license. Only Baltimore County, for some unexplained reason, that can't happen. So this would get rid of the requirement that the farmers obtain a license before hunting groundhogs on their property.
I'll vote for your bill if you find a hunter that'll come and get rid of the ones in my yard.
Okay.
They're bad in Randallstown. I'm paying for people to come trap them.
Okay, I see we have Colby. Would you like to give a few words, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Colby Ferguson on behalf of Maryland Farm Bureau, and this is a bill that got COVID in 2020, got hung up and didn't get out of the House. You guys supported this bill 2 years ago, and we just obviously ran out of time when we stopped on March the 18th. So we're just back trying to clean this mess up and take care of the problem. And Chair Kelly, one thing that I will let you know about your issue is that anybody that comes and traps those right now in Baltimore County only, they're supposed to have a hunting license and wear orange to do that. Only in Baltimore County do you have to do that. So it's not just.
I know, that's why I've had to pay so much money to get out.
Yeah, so this would clean that mess up for a lot of people to take care of problem and really in the farm community. It's a challenge, and quite frankly, most don't know that you're required to do that. So we're just trying to clean up the unintended consequence.
Ben Brooks has the crossfire.
And can I just say Senator Lamb has joined us and Senator Jennings has joined us.
Great.
So, any questions for Colby and Bill?
I had a question.
Okay, who said that? Okay, Senator Sidney.
Thank you. The language that's being struck says that it would include non-game birds and mammals, so it's not just groundhogs. I'm curious, what's happening here outside? I mean, what other animals are now being included with this?
Senator, it's a bit of a definitional thicket. What it really ends when you work your way through all the definitions and the sub-definitions, it's what we're allowing now is groundhogs, and there are two kinds of birds, some kind of starlings. Colby, can you help on this?
Yeah, it's mainly sparrows, blackbirds. If you've ever watched, you'll see them sometimes. They'll come in droves and like completely cover a whole tree, and then they fly in and out and out. But that's really not the nuisance. The birds aren't for farmers and people. It's mainly the groundhogs. So the reason why it says non-game is basically the way the Department of Natural Resources categorizes animals is they're either game or they're non-game. And obviously livestock don't fall into that, but there is no really, so basically anything that falls under game something that's regulated through a hunting license, or like that's your geese, your ducks, your deer, bear, those types of things. So it's kind of a it's because of the way the DNR regulations are, is why they call them game and non-game. But the primary thing here would be groundhogs.
And what
The
about mammals?
Cisco note makes it clear that the only mammals that are covered by this bill are groundhogs.
Yeah, this wouldn't include dogs and cats and things like that. They're under another category. So yeah, we're very narrow, and it's just basically a catch-all for the things that we haven't defined somewhere.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Senator Hadelman?
Just remember me when I call the Farm Bureau to find out who can do that for me.
Senator Hadelman has a question.
Thank you. Are the other things that you're including here besides the groundhogs, are they also covered in other counties? We're bringing the county into parity with other counties in terms of where people are allowed to shoot.
Yeah, that's correct. I know Joanne Chasen from Baltimore County Farm Bureau is on here also, and that's a big thing. Is only Baltimore County has this kind of special rule, and honestly, if you talk to the Department of Natural Resources, it really puts them in a pickle, because you get the northern part of the county, and are you in Harford County? Are you in Baltimore County? Are you in Cecil County? Are you in Baltimore County? Are you in Carroll County? And so it's a little challenging for them, because there's no fence line that says this is Baltimore and this is not. So it really is. It's just there's all the other 22 counties are allowed to do this.
Great, thank you.
Senator West, you have one more witness? No.
Oh, but Joanne Chasen's here. Joanne, would you like to say something?
Well, I think thank you, Senator West, and thank you, Chairperson, for taking our comments. I think that Senator West did a fairly concise job of presenting the concerns as far as to livestock and farm equipment, broken axles. And there is no way for us to give you a exact dollar figure, because no one really keeps track of that. However, I can also attest to I have raised Jack Russell Terriers for many, many, many years, and cannot tell you how many times I've had to take my dogs to a veterinarian in the middle of the night for stitches, because they come back all bloodied and messed up from trying to take care of the groundhogs for us. So the one thing that I do really want to drive home is that with this bill, we're just asking for the same rights and privileges as every other farmer and landowner in the state of Maryland has. We're not asking for anything special or different. We're just asking to be treated equally.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Joanne. Any other questions? All right, we'll move on to, that's it for you, Senator West, right?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, Senator Hadelman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to present Senate Bill 349. And this bill allows homeowners in Baltimore County who have endured significant hardship but are denied the tax credit because their gross income is over $60,000 a year to qualify for the tax credit against the county. And you'll hear from my witnesses, Bill Chase and Karen Hoffberger, who have served on the Baltimore County Tax Assessment Appeals Board, who frequently hears from individuals who have experienced some sort of unusual hardship, whether it's personal illness or a tree fell on their home or some significant financial burden that has required that they take money for themselves out of, for example, a retirement account and blown through their $60,000 gross income cap. So it allows this appeals board some discretion in granting exemptions for those hardships. And that's what the bill does. I think it's fair. I will, if it's okay with the chair, turn it over to them to share with you their personal experience hearing some of these cases and feeling like their hands are tied.
Okay, Bill, you want to be that's first?
You're on mute, Bill.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I've been chairman of the Board of Appeals for Assessment Taxation now for over 11 years. Once a month, we have hearings where people who apply for their tax credit with the state assessment get denied because they have retired, they didn't understand, they took their 401k to pay some medical bills, to pay some damages to their house, and they get denied. So they have an appeals right. So they appeal to the Board of Appeals of Assessment Taxation in each county. When they get in front of us, we have no power. We have no way of listening to them other than telling them, well, you're over to 60,000, therefore you're disqualified. There's nothing given us. The time that they come to hear in front of us to get an impartial hearing, which they don't get, is to hear us say, you're sorry, we can't help you. So Karen and I have been listening to this. Karen's been with me for 4 years, 5 years almost, and we've listened to this and watched these people. Like one woman comes in there, says, I just retired 3 years ago. I had to go in the hospital. I had to go pay these medical bills. And I got my 401k and I'm told I have to take this out from our 401k, and I put it in there. And next thing knows, I get denied. Well, I'm sorry, you're over your 60,000. I can't do anything for you. So we're making these people come to a hearing which has no results for them. We can't give them any results. And if there's no discretion in this thing, why waste these people's time? And the only way to be able to help them is prove to me you have a hardship. Prove to me that there's a financial hardship that you needed to finance this, and let's go back to the state and let them figure out a new formula for them because of the hardship. We need something. I mean, I just feel totally unease being in front of these people, coming in front of me and telling them, sorry, I can't help you, period. Okay. So we're trying, so we looked at it and we're trying to get, just for Baltimore County, because they want to, we want to be the experiment, Baltimore County. And we've talked to the county executive's office and they want to go along with us. They agree with us that they want to be the experiment to see if we can help these people with such hardships that they don't lose that tax credit they've been living with for the last 40 years or 30 years because their 401k is still not part of their income. All of a sudden, as soon as they retire and they have these financial, especially when you're in ages 65 and older, you're going to have expenses more than your plan. They need the funds. So we're trying to get them at least some hardship capability. That's why we're put this legislation in.
All right, thanks. Any questions?
Yeah.
Peter Kelly?
Yeah. I feel sorry for the people in the situation, and I think something should be done. I don't like the idea of just giving discretion to the board to just decide on a case-by-case basis with no stipulations as to what kinds of things would qualify, what would not. Is it possible that we could have the bill raise the base, recommend that the county raise the base limit, let's say to 80,000?
That would have to be the state, for the whole state to raise that limit. That's
what is it in, so then are we using what is a statewide cutoff?
Right.
Well, then, if you could wait a couple of weeks, I think our delegation ought to sit down with the help of some attorneys and maybe you and figure out what the actual excuses or problems would be, those that are most obvious and most common, rather than just, because I think in the long run, when you guys are gone and somebody else is in your job, you don't know what people might accept, and then we'll end up with some scandals.
The hardship issue would be, once we determine there's a hardship, it would go back to the county, to the state to determine what the deduction.
But is your hardship required that you take a look at their state tax form? In other words, anybody can tell you anything.
Well, in the bill, it does specify in the bill what the hardship is. So if you look,
I'm just saying, do they have to verify that those?
Yes, it does say that also. The homeowner shall include in the form required by the governing body of the county an itemized list of all the sources of income and expenses of the homeowner, including expenses related to the hardship.
All I'm saying is they provide you a list. Does that list match what their tax form show?
Yes.
Yes, they're supposed to, yes, they have to present that to the
Well,
to
we
the
were just
board.
to say, and they also present a copy of their state tax.
And they're,
Then
yeah.
I would be fine. That's just my.
When it-
suggestion.
Bill, I have a question. You ran this by the county executive,
Yes.
and so
They
his
support it.
at it.
They supported, we already had a hearing in budget and tax and they submitted testimony in support of it. I can get that.
Okay, and I'm sure, Sam, we have letters from them.
Yes.
Okay, and I will get those letters out to everyone. Okay,
So I just wanted to be clear that
yes.
they have to show at least the state tax form. Okay.
For Senator
Okay.
Kelly to understand that they have to supply, when they apply for the 60,000, I mean, this hardship, they have to supply their tax forms, their federal taxes, their Maryland taxes to the state anyway at the beginning. Be able to get into the state what their income is. They have to, there's nothing coming in saying, somebody walks into the state of Maryland and says, I earn 60,000. That's my max. I need a.
All I'm saying is I want your board to be able to see
Oh,
that.
Well, that's what the
Like
person
there's
who
the
represents the
somewhere.
state, the
Yeah.
person who represents the state brings us those tax forms.
Okay, Karen, do you have anything to add?
I just wanted to say that we had originally done it for the whole state. And last year we were told, why don't you stick to Baltimore County? And that is why we went to the county executive and his lobbying crew, because obviously we have the largest senior population in the state, which you all well know. And here are people who have never asked us for anything. They've always paid their taxes. They've always paid their property taxes. They've worked all their lives. And suddenly they're terrified that, we had a couple of people come in where their son has MS and he's now in the later stages, and they're paying for his nursing care, and they took all the money specifically out of, and they could show, but we couldn't do anything about it at the time. They could show that they took the money out specifically for those costs, those expenses out of their IRA, and our hands were tied. And so I think this is an unintended consequence that can easily be corrected. This will have to go through the Baltimore County Council. There will have to be more things stated in the actual regulations that make it clear. And when your state person comes to us, she says, I have all the paperwork. I know that, yes, for years they've met the 60,000. I can't do anything. My hands are tied. So I think we're asking for just a slight correction to it. And I think it'll be of great benefit to the very people that really don't ask for anything. It's crushing.
Okay, thank you.
One last question. Would
Sure.
a similarly situated taxpayer in Baltimore County who's a year younger get any recourse or not? Why is age there?
Oh, no, there's no age.
No age.
No,
Okay.
I'm just mentioning because most of the people that
Okay.
came to us were seniors, but they weren't
Okay.
all. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Senator Kelly.
All right.
And just to
Okay.
clarify, as Karen said, this is enabling legislation. The county council will have to take
I know.
separate action.
Okay, all right, thank you. Now, Senator Hadelman, do you have any other bills? That was it, right?
That was it.
That was it for one today.
Yes.
So I believe, Sam, am I correct that the next one is Senator Sidnor?
Yes, Senator Sidnor has 3 bills. My understanding is Senate Bill 55 does not have witnesses. Is that correct, Senator Sidnor?
That's correct.
Okay. And the other 2, there's 1 witness for Senate Bill 414 and several for 557.
Okay, so why don't we go for the first one?
All right, and good morning, everyone. Senate Bill 55 is a bill that has not been introduced before, but it's a bill that would allow our county school board to retain counsel without having to go through the county's law department. We are the only school system that has this prohibition in the state code, and what the bill would do is to remove that prohibition.
Any questions? Okay, everybody got it? All right. Next bill.
All right. Senate Bill 414 is a bill that we all voted for last year, dealing with how the chair of the school, our school board is elected, as well as adding an additional appointed member of that would go through the board nominating process, but would be appointed by the county executive rather than the governor. Again, we voted, actually this bill was voted out of this body as well as the full body last year unanimously. However, it was unable to get through the House of Delegates in time.
Any questions about that?
And we have one member who will be testifying in her personal capacity rather than as a member of the board.
Is that Molly?
Yes.
Okay. Take your mute off there, Molly. There you go.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. I am here today to voice my support for Senate Bill 414. My name is Molly Joes, and most of you may currently know me as a member at large in the Baltimore County Board of Education. I speak as an individual and not on behalf of the board today. In 2018, the Baltimore County Board of Education went from a fully appointed to a hybrid board. The board currently has 7 elected members, as you know, 4 gubernatorial appointees, and 1 student member of the board for a total of 12 members. In 2019, with the passing of the late Roger Hayden, we lost 1 member. Subsequently, in the December 2019 board officers election, the challengers received 6 votes and the incumbent 5. However, our quorum requirements were 7-member majority based on a membership of 12. Despite 6 being greater than 5, the incumbents remained as de facto officers since neither pair could receive the required 7 votes. It was a full 5 months before another member was appointed. This past week, our board member, Ms. Cheryl Pastor, resigned, leaving us with 11 members on the board again. This time, however, Ms. Pastor also serves as the vice chair of the board, which means for policy, we must have an election for the vice chair position. Again, majority remains 7. Difficult to get on a board, as you have seen, so politically divided and racially divided. If our quorum requirements were to be based on the current members on the board, it would make governing, passing policies, approving contracts much easier and less contentious. Thank you.
Any questions? Senator West, I see you do.
I'm not sure really. I think Molly has sort of illustrated the fact this bill has 2 elements to it. One is how many votes you need in order to elect the officers of the board, which I agree with. And the other is giving the county executive an appointed member on the board, which I've got a problem with. And I'll discuss that when we get to the voting session.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Questions? All right. Thank you very much, Molly. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Charles, Senator Sidnor.
Yes, the last bill to present today is Senate Bill 557, which is a bill that affects 2 legislative districts. That's District 44 and District 10. It creates a West Baltimore County Redevelopment Authority for as long as I've been in office. I should say actually prior to being in office. One of the concerns that has been on the west side of Baltimore County is from this community is a lack of development in the community. So what this bill does is it creates a redevelopment authority, or it provides the county the ability to create a redevelopment authority. So this is enabling legislation with the boundaries being the northern boundary being Liberty Road, the western boundary being Roland Road, southern boundary being Baltimore National Pike, and the eastern boundary being the Baltimore City, Baltimore County line. As you all may have seen this past summer, there had been a lot of public sentiment towards having Security Mall looked at, because it's been a project that's been stalled for a number of years. Woodlawn Village, and a number of other areas along that Security Boulevard corridor that just have not gotten the type of attention that many on this side of town believe the county should be providing. So with this redevelopment authority, we would have the ability for someone to really focus on providing those opportunities and taking advantage of the various designations that we have on this side of town. By way of example, and in the package that you all should receive, within this designated West Baltimore County, the lines you would have, we have some hub zones, as well as an opportunity zone that really has not been taken advantage of. We have a number of sustainable communities, as well as commercial revitalization zones that have been designated by the county. But again, for whatever reason, when we've looked to the county for some opportunities and some investment, these things haven't quite happened. So with us this morning, I believe Elizabeth Glenn, Klaus Phillipson, I believe they're going to be first in testifying. And then we had a number of other community members who have been fairly active this summer when we were talking about the 2030 plan for the county that will be providing input as well.
Okay, so you've picked out 3 folks to.
Well, Miss is going to kick us off, and I'm not certain if Klaus Phillipson is on, but then everyone else we're going to come. I believe Miss Duran was going to be next. So.
Okay, I'm going to put you in charge of okay.
All right.
Okay, you go ahead.
Miss Glenn.
Good morning, Baltimore County delegation. It is so good to be with you this morning. I want to thank Senator Sidnor and Senator Kelly for bringing this exciting proposal to the body for consideration. Some of you may know me. My name is Liz Glenn. I am the former Deputy Director of the Baltimore County Department of Planning and had the opportunity to be involved with a number of redevelopment projects during my tenure with Baltimore County, including the redevelopment of East Towson, the redevelopment of specific areas in Eastern Baltimore County. And when I was leaving the county, I was working on Winters Lane. And what I know about the county is that we have a number of communities that are worthy of investment, but because there is a great deal of need in our county, which, you know, as we know, it's an old county. It's been around since the 1600s. We have infrastructure that still needs reinvestment in. And when I was part of the Office of Community Conservation, we spent a great deal of time rebuilding county infrastructure in some of our older communities. But it becomes more difficult. Developers love to work in green fields, and redevelopment is difficult, but it's also a very engaging and worthwhile approach to invigorating and revitalizing communities. A redevelopment authority that gives the Baltimore County, enables Baltimore County to establish a body that could then take the lead on redevelopment rather than waiting for a private sector developer to come in, but then begin to really be more aggressive about revitalizing those areas of the community that the private sector may not come in. This is the benefit and then value of redevelopment authorities. Pennsylvania has been one of the most successful states in the country, leading the way in establishing redevelopment authorities in most of its major subdivisions, including its smaller counties. So we see redevelopment authorities work very well, particularly in aging jurisdictions where you need someone to come in that you can focus on a particular redevelopment. If you think about Security Square Mall, as the senator points out, it's been languishing for years, yet it has a footprint that could be a very positive benefit to the community in terms of helping to improve property values, bring in additional revenue for the county's general fund, potentially developing mixed use development that could bring in jobs, stabilize property values, and bring in much needed investment from the private sector. I think about Woodlawn Village, which again has been languishing. And then there might be other opportunities that could occur because of federal installations shifting and moving their installations. Because as we all know, in COVID and post-COVID, there's going to be a lot of thinking about how we operate, how we work in our buildings. So I'm a stalwart for looking at developing tools that can provide opportunities for revitalization in older communities. Those of you who know me and know me well know that I'm a strong advocate of communities and community-driven redevelopment. I think this is an exciting opportunity to enable an authority that can do some things that have not been done. I think, I look back on years ago when when Dutch Rupertberger, for example, tried to do something much more aggressive on the east side, and I think we missed the opportunity. The west side is definitely in need of some tools, some special tools that could establish TIF districts or establish hubs for redevelopment with some special benefits. Yes, it does take public dollars, but this takes public dollars that will leverage, I believe. In most cases, redevelopment authorities have leveraged for every public dollar invested, has leveraged up to $10 in private funding. So I think that would be significant. The West Side has been a strong growth presence in our county. And I believe that the possibilities and the potential for even further revitalization could certainly be met in establishing and enabling a redevelopment authority for that distinct purpose.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Glenn. That was pretty concise. And I agree. And any questions?
If I could just say one additional thing. When you consider that at Security Square Mall, we've had vacant, boarded up restaurants sitting almost 20 years and nobody's doing anything. So others don't want to come in and to develop or to do anything in a place like that. So we really need this.
Okay. Yep. No good to have boarded up buildings.
No, ma'am.
And Senator Sidnor, do you want to call your?
I don't see Mr. Phillips, and so if I may go to Ms. Duran.
I had Klaus Phillipson on our list, but I do not see him in the waiting room.
Thank you, Sam.
Okay, so Senator Sidnor, do you want to say the next person?
Ms. Doris Duran.
Yes, good morning.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, and I bring you greetings on behalf of the MSBC 5-Star Program, CDC. We operate in the Woodlawn area at 6665 Security Boulevard. We have been very instrumental in trying to pour into the Woodlawn community now since 2017 when we moved to that site. And I can tell you, since we have been there, not only has the area grown well, but also the needs have grown tremendously. We continue to try to meet the needs of the community, and we are advocates for the people. What we're about is making sure that folks who are struggling in this period that we're in now, and we know that the struggles have increased since we experienced the pandemic in the way of folks having food insecurity needs, folks having no jobs, folks just having needs in general. And we've been trying to meet that in conjunction with the legislators and representatives in our area, as well as the businesses and just the residents overall. We are definitely in favor of Senate Bill 557 because we feel that it will bring to us a revitalization of the area that is so desperately needed. We sit in the midst of industrial blight. We sit in the midst of people who are homeless and that either choose to or have no other resources other than to sleep on the street, at the bus stops, on the corners. And we want to make a change. We want to see that change and shift to a vibrant and sustainable community that not only offers opportunities for people to be trained, but for them to seek mental health services, which we also provide, and for them to be trained to be valuable contributors to the community. So, as I said before, revitalization in this area is essential, and we believe that having the authority in place, as well as addressing some of these needs by the collaboration of all parties here on this particular Zoom, as well as in the community overall, will be beneficial to the Woodlawn, Security Boulevard, Randallstown corridor, all of that's West Baltimore County. We need it, and we ask that you respectfully honor our request.
Thank you. Mr. James Farnham is a business owner in the area.
Yes, good morning, delegation, and thank you for this opportunity. I have to agree with what Doris Duran and Elizabeth Glenn had said. Everything they said is so important. In addition to being a business owner, where my wife and I own a hospitality staffing business and employ a number of people in the Baltimore County area. I'm also part of the Morning Star Baptist Church Social Actions Ministry. And as such, we go into the community to help educate them about vaccines, about voting, about things that really matter to the community. And one of the things that we've seen in some of our stops is the Liberty Road corridor. Many people speak about not getting the types of stores and the services that they need in that particular community. And what they're doing is they're going to other communities for services and products that should be in our own community. And so we're just sending dollars elsewhere. It's inconvenient to the people because they have to get in their cars and drive to other areas where there's better selections and people are meeting their needs. So I think it's vitally important that we revitalize these areas, the security mall, the business corridor complex as well. Those are just really, really important for the community for many of the reasons that were said before. So thank you for this opportunity to speak on behalf of the community.
Thank you very
much. Thank you, Mr. Farnham. Senator Sidnor, now you have several other witnesses, and do we have any questions, first of all? Okay. And so the time is getting late, but can they all come on and just say, me too, or not me too, but they like Liberty Road, or they want to do something with Security Mall quickly, because we're losing people, because people have to get moving this morning. So,
all right, would you all like to say me too?
Yes,
okay,
definitely me too.
Yeah, wait a minute. Hold on. Let's, Sam, you have the list there?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you call and then somebody just smile and say me too, yes, and
Ingrid Sampson.
Me too, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ingrid.
Thank you.
Who is next? Dawn Green.
Yes, me too.
Deborah
Unless you
Sharp.
have something that's very, very important. Okay. Okay. Go ahead, Sam.
Deborah Sharp.
Yes, 23-year residence off of Liberty Road and member at Morning Star. Absolutely in agreement.
Okay. Sam.
Sheila Lewis.
Yes, I am a Pikesville resident. Our community is located adjacent to Liberty Road. And I just want to add to what was said, but also is really important about the lack of economic equity and environmental justice that's occurring in that areas. It is discouraging, depressing to those residents, and they deserve better. I do thank you for this opportunity to speak, and I thank you for your service, and definitely me too.
Thank you, Sheila. Okay, who's next?
Linda Harrington. Hold on, let me unmute.
Don't mute, Linda.
Where is Linda?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I absolutely agree. Me too.
Okay, thank you, Linda.
Mm-hmm.
Sam?
Who is next? Watching Bruce. I see he's here. I'm not sure if he can speak right now.
She's unmuted. Ms. Bruce?
Where's Miss Bruce? Do I see Miss Bruce?
Is there anyone else on the list? And maybe we can come back.
We had a few there's other people on the list, and there's a few people in the waiting room, but I don't see any people in the waiting room who are on my list. So I think that should be everyone.
Okay, but you have several people in the waiting room but didn't want to speak?
Well, they're not, I don't have their information ahead of time, so I don't know which bills are here to testify for or what have you. I can let them in if that's what you'd like to do.
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
Is that all right with you, Senator Sidnor?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Do you know who they might be? I don't want to.
I do not.
Let me say this. I think we did send out something to Sam, I think, about that may be Mrs. Marisol would be on that one, maybe Miss Mason, what have you. That list did go over to Sam as a separate email. And so if you would allow them an opportunity to speak, they represent the Security Woodlawn Business Association.
Okay.
Could you say their names again? I just want to make sure that's who I'm letting in.
That would be Marisol. Marisol would be one. Chantel would be another. Mrs. Let me get my.
I do not see them. Yes, I did get that list from you. I do not see them in the waiting list or in the waiting room.
Okay, they're not a part of the waiting room?
Not that I can see now.
Okay.
Then we're fine.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? And who's in the waiting room, Sam?
There's three names. There's Dwayne Debnam, Faye Marvin, and Marilyn Gibson.
Okay, just let them.
Oh, they're with you for this bill?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, let them pop in and say hi, and they've heard everything we've been saying, so.
And there's one more in Imani Angela Rose.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
Waiting in the waiting. Okay.
While they're coming in, watching Bruce was having technical difficulties. She's texted me on her behalf, say she's in agreement also, if I could say that for her.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Dwayne?
Reverend.
Bishop Debman.
He's a minister at morning.
He's on mute.
Yep, I'm here. Yeah, I just stand in support of what Senator Kelly and Senator Sidnor are trying to provide for the community.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Sam, can you call the next person?
Marilyn Gibson.
Good morning. Yes, I am in support of that what is proposed by Senator Sidnor.
Thank you. Okay, Sam.
Faye Marvin.
You're on mute, Faye.
Raise your hand if you're in support.
Okay, that's good. Okay. All right, Sam.
The last one is Imani Angela Rose. She is still joining. I'm not sure if that's a technical issue or what.
Imani. All right, but we have, assuming she is in support of this, we will put, we will put that in the record.
The community is unanimous on this.
I think so. Okay, so it's a great idea. So, all right. Any other questions? Any other comments from any of the senators? And we again, I just want to thank you all. I think we did have a full house, and I want to thank everyone for coming. And next week we'll do it in the afternoon because I know people have things to do in the morning, and maybe we won't have snow next week. So you can get to physical therapy, Senator Kelly.
Oh no, it's too late.
All right. Have a wonderful day, everybody. And I will see the senators this evening.
Thank you all.
Hey, and thanks for all of you showing up today. And it made it a whole lot easier than having to travel to Annapolis in the snow.
Okay.
Thank you all very much.
Enjoy the day.